Hello everyone, this is Frank DiMora and today is September the 11th, 2014. And if you just found my YouTube channel, please go over to my website. I'm going to have the link up there so that you can see the address and click to that address and you'll be able to go right to my book at my website, The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. But I want to get in now to what President Barack Obama said last night about ISIL, or many of you recognize that it is actually ISIS. And ISIS has been on the move. They do have a plan. Now, I'm going to play a video from the president last night, and I'm going to connect some dots for you because what he said is just not right. And most of you who have been watching the news probably scratching your head figuring out what the heck is he talking about. So watch his video from last night, and as I said, I'll connect the dots.
Now let's make two things clear. ISIL is not Islamic.
Take a look at this. What I'm going to do for you, I'm going to put up about 5 or 6 different verses from the Quran that shows that they want to kill, they want to harm anyone who doesn't believe in them. Yes, Mr. President, they're killing their own people, Muslims, because they're not radical enough for ISIL or ISIS. And even if they are Muslims, they want to eradicate them because they're not strict enough. But that doesn't stop the plans of the caliphate. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to put up the 6. I'll hold them up for about 5 to 10 seconds so that you could read it. And then I'm going to play the video for you that Amy put together about the forming of the state of, or caliphate, if you will. So here is the first scripture from the Quran. And of course, this is the second one. There's another one. All right, so there you have the verses showing that they are definitely a terrorist organization, Mr. President. You got that right. But they are definitely working to make one state called the caliphate.
No religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim. And ISIL is certainly not a state.
But they do have a goal that they want to make a state, not just in Iraq, not just in Syria, but they want a caliphate. And he never mentions once, at least in a speech that I saw, about the Islamic plans for a caliphate.
It was formerly Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Iraq and has taken advantage of sectarian strife and Syria's civil war to gain territory on both sides of the Iraq-Syrian border. It is recognized by no government, nor by the people it subjugates. ISIL is a terrorist organization, pure and simple, and it has no vision other than the slaughter of all who stand in its way.
Either the president is smoking too much of his weed from college days, or he's not watching the news, because they do have a plan. That plan is to take over everyone who doesn't believe in their philosophy.
In a region that has known so much bloodshed, these terrorists are unique in their brutality. They execute captured prisoners. They kill children. They enslave, rape, force women into marriage. They threatened a religious minority with genocide. And in acts of barbarism, they took the lives of 2 American journalists, Jim Foley and Stephen Sotloff. So ISIL poses a threat to the people of Iraq and Syria and the broader Middle East, including American citizens, personnel, and facilities. If left unchecked, these terrorists could pose a growing threat beyond that region.
Okay, so at first he said there's no problem, they just bordering Iraq and Syria. And now you see in the same speech, in less than 2 minutes, he's talking about the major threat. And the major threat is the plans that ISIS has, or ISIL, whichever you want to use. Their plan is to form this caliphate. Now, this caliphate, the ISIL, is not just in the areas that he's talking about, but he doesn't mention that the fact that they're in 6 miles away from the border of Israel. They're in the Sinai Desert in Egypt. They're found in Lebanon. They're in Syria. They're in Iraq. And you can take a look. They've made advances into Libya. They're moving in the direction of their plans, Mr. President.
To the United States. While we have not yet detected specific plotting against our homeland, ISIL leaders have threatened America and our allies.
Well, you got that right.
Our intelligence community believes that thousands of foreigners, including Europeans and some Americans, have joined them in Syria and Iraq.
And the reason why they did this is because they're recruiting to advance their program, the caliphate. Let me show you a video that I did with Amy Naomi, and it has to do with this caliphate, the formation of a huge state of Islamic terrorists. Now to the video. Now, in tying in ISIS to all of the countries that are either listed in the Psalm 83 or the Ezekiel 38 war, I'm bringing on my assistant, Amy Naomi, who's going to give you information about ISIS. ISIS involved in the different countries over the years, their plans, and where they are geographically, so that you get a good picture of the road to Ezekiel chapter 38. So Amy, take it away.
Hi Frank, thank you for inviting me. I wanted to share with you first, this is a chart of ISIS, that's what the news calls it. It's the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Formerly, it's called the Levant. The Levant is an area in the Middle East that consists of the countries that you see on the screen. Iraq and Syria, which, if you've been watching the nightly news, you know that this militant group is already there. The Levant also consists of Jordan, Palestine, parts of southern Turkey, the island of Cyprus, Lebanon, and of course they consider Israel also part of their Islamic caliphate at this point in time. The important thing to realize is this group's been around since 2004, but it's been under different names, and it wasn't until they declared this caliphate, which gives them rule over the entire Muslim world, that anyone really sat up and took notice. Anyone who's come to your site has seen a lot of information lately about the countries in the Ezekiel War, such as Russia and Morocco and Algeria. And here's the reason why. ISIS has a 5-year plan. If you can look at this map in blue and black here on the left, this actually is a map that they have published on their multiple websites. This is what they consider to be their area of authority, their caliphate. It has a lot of strange names on it, some things we've never heard of before. You can see Iraq there in the middle, the only one that seems to have its same name. Sham is just an Arabic term, and that is going to include most of the countries we just saw, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, and Iran. But I outlined on a current map where they consider their borders to be. And as you can see, they stretch all the way from India, clear up into parts of China, parts of Russia, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, past Saudi Arabia and all the Emirates, down into parts of Africa, and all the way to the west, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, up into Europe, Portugal and Spain and parts of France. This is also possibly going to extend past Turkey into the areas of Germany. So here on the right, you can see I've broke down all of the names for you, and the countries in green are the ones that are specifically listed in the Ezekiel War as coming against Israel. So every little country that they have here, Andalus, that would be Spain, Portugal, Andorra, parts of southern France. The Maghreb, we've been seeing a lot of news about that lately between Morocco and Algeria, also two of the players in the Ezekiel War, which is put from the old days, the Empire Hood. They consider that to be the Maghreb and the land of Al-Qamina. Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Tunisia, extends into Nigeria, Egypt. The list just goes on and on here. Every one of the Ezekiel players you can see highlighted here. This is their 5-year plan. Will it happen? That's up to the Lord. But according to what they're doing and the way that they're moving right now, I definitely see them having a part to play in this. And it certainly explains a conglomeration of these countries coming together against Israel. So you can definitely see how this plan is coming together. I'm sure that you're all aware that President Obama has just authorized airstrikes on ISIS in Iraq. I don't know how America's going to play into this, but I can definitely see how the Lord is working together these countries that will be coming against Israel in the coming days.
So there you have it in a nutshell. ISIS is definitely a problem, and unless someone stops them, they will continue to advance in the areas that they have set out the goal for.